This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do. Every weekday afternoon, got a whole bunch of stuff to come your way this afternoon, this morning, West Coast time, of course. The great Joe Dumars, former executive extraordinaire for the Detroit Pistons, who got at them to 6 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals appearances. Obviously, a 2-time champion with the bad boy Pistons in the 80s and a Hall of Famer. He will be in studio with yours truly. Looking forward to having a conversation with him about the things that have been transpiring. Lots of stuff to get into with that. We will certainly do that today. And obviously, the story of the day is the NBA draft. What angle do you want to pick? If you are the Los Angeles Lakers, you should be happy. You have Lonzo Ball. If you are the New York Knicks fan base, you should be disgusted. Not because this dude from France is a scrub. Not because he can't play. All projections point to him being a solid individual who's capable of starting for you for years to come. But there's no all-star predictions here. There's no future Hall of Fame predictions here. There's no superstar status here. And with the number 8 overall pick, whereas you don't get that, and the New York Knicks know that better than anybody because the number 8 pick they picked in the past was Jordan Hill, a pick right after Steph Curry. We understand that it doesn't work out that way sometimes. We get it. We understand it. We accept it. But the fact that the Zen master, Phil Jackson, is the one making this pick, the same Phil Jackson that doesn't take road trips, the same Phil Jackson that barely scouts, the same Phil Jackson that was nowhere to be found during the NCAA tournament while Magic Johnson and others were out there scouting. As a matter of fact, I take that back. Phil Jackson could be found because while Magic Johnson was out scouting during the NCAA tournament when Kentucky with De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk and Harry Giles, well, not Harry Giles because he's out of Duke, but Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox was scheduled to go up against Lonzo Ball for UCLA, and Magic Johnson was there in attendance. Phil Jackson was in L.A. for Shaq's statue ceremony, conveniently sitting next to his ex-fiancée, Jeannie Buss. But those are the road trips that Phil Jackson makes, which is out to L.A. Or you can catch him at a New York Knicks game, trying to coach from the stands for crying out loud. And somehow, some way, we're supposed to believe that this man is scouting some dude in France. We're supposed to believe that Phil Jackson knows about some dude from France when he barely knows about a dude from Kentucky or UCLA or Duke. I mean, you got to be kidding me. But let me get on a higher note and get into Lonzo Ball, because I'm happy that he got picked. I'm happy that LaVar Ball's proclamations were validated when Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers picked his son Lonzo Ball with the number 2 overall pick in this year's NBA draft. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Lonzo Ball is box office for the Lakers. If it were anybody else, I'm thinking De'Aaron Fox. I'm thinking Josh Jackson. But for the Los Angeles Lakers, to me, you could only make one call. And that call had to be Lonzo Ball. Because let's face it, the Los Angeles Lakers have been a disaster. And they've been a disaster because of Jim Buss and Jeannie Buss for allowing Jim Buss to be that disaster. And you could throw Mitch Kupchak in there too, signing Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng to those ridiculous contracts in an effort to save his damn job, and it didn't work. And I respect the hell out of Mitch Kupchak. I personally would not have minded had he stayed the GM with Magic as president. Personally, I'm not hating on Rob Pelinka at all. I respect the man. But Mitch Kupchak was there for the ages, and I think Mitch Kupchak just bet on the wrong horse. No pun intended, considering Jim Buss's background with horses. Mitch Kupchak bet on the wrong horse. He sided with Jimmy instead of Jeannie. Or he gravitated to Jimmy instead of Jeannie, and it cost him. And so as a result, you've got Magic and Rob Pelinka up in there. And if you're Magic Johnson, if there was ever an individual that deserved the benefit of the doubt when it comes to a point guard, it is Earvin Magic Johnson. He is a basketball savant, ladies and gentlemen. And if he believes in Lonzo Ball, you should believe in Lonzo Ball, because he makes me believe in Lonzo Ball. That simple. Unapologetically, I will state that. But let me be the first to say, if you're Magic Johnson, your work has just begun. Once you acquired the number 2 overall pick, knowing that Boston didn't need Alonzo Ball, this was a gimme. It was obvious who you should draft, and you did it. Now, what you going to do in free agency? These are important questions, ladies and gentlemen. These kind of questions matter. Because if you are Irvin Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers, your work hasn't stopped. It's just begun. And it's not just to build a team. It's to build star power. Because these are the Lakers. That purple and gold. Those lights dimming and darkening. That Showtime ambiance that takes place whenever the Lakers are playing at Staples Center. That is what has been missing. That is what Magic Johnson brought to the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the reason Jack Kent Cooke and the Los Angeles Lakers, long before the Busters ever owned the Lakers, drafted Magic Johnson instead of a guy like Sidney Moncrief. Moncrief coming out of college was incredibly solid. Incredibly solid. Was a steady force. Could play on both ends of the floor. Could score and could defend. And Jack Kent Cooke said, hell no. I need Showtime. I need that dude with that magnetic smile who was about pushing the ball up the floor. And when I got Worthy on one wing and Norm Nixon on another, and then after Norm Nixon, his successor Byron Scott with Michael Cooper trailing. Or if I got to slow it up and give it to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, so be it. It's a Showtime. This is what it's all about. That was Irvin Magic Johnson. And that is what Irvin Magic Johnson is assuming Lonzo Ball is going to bring to the table. But who do you have on the wing? Jordan Clarkson? I like him, but come on now. Julius Randle, who still needs to learn to be ambidextrous instead of using his left hand all the time. Larry Nance Jr., who can dunk, but we haven't seen much else that he could do. Luol Deng, who's about 33, looking like he's 60. Because of the minutes that he's played and the mileage he's put on his body. Still a place for him, but come on now. You Lonzo Ball with those ball handling and passing abilities, you need somebody to get the ball too, which is why if you're Magic Johnson, you do not wait. You do not wait. You go and you get Paul George right now. You do not wait until next summer. You do not play around. You do not assume that just because this man told you he wants to be a Laker and he's going to be a Laker, that he's going to be true to that commitment that he made. And you know the number one reason you can't do that? Jerry West. That's why. This ain't Phil Jackson we're talking about with his novice executive self. Don't know how to do anything as an executive as far as I'm concerned with his novice self. This is Jerry West. He may be 79 years of age, approaching 80. But looks good, seems in good health, and more importantly than anything else, this man, the great Jerry West, is arguably the greatest executive we have seen in the NBA. Irvin Magic Johnson. That is your competition at this moment in time. An absolutely brilliant move by Steve Ballmer and Doc Rivers to bring him on board.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Let me give props to some other folk who I think had a good draft. When I think about Sacramento, with the number 5 pick of De'Aaron Fox, and I look at Sacramento with the number 15th pick of Justin Jackson, and the number 20th pick with Harry Giles, assuming he could be healthy, I got to tell y'all something. This is not bad. This is not bad at all. Good evening for the Sacramento Kings. The Lakers drafting Lonzo Ball and then getting Josh Hart out of Villanova, that wasn't bad. The Mavericks getting Dennis Smith Jr., who I wanted the Knicks to grab. He ends up a pick late at number 9. Boy, if Phil Jackson. Let me tell you something. Dennis Smith at number 9. Zach Collins out of Gonzaga. Remember how he performed in the Final Four? For Gonzaga, this 7-foot freshman, how he can play? Remember Malik Monk for Kentucky and how he can put the ball in the hole? Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets. I have no problem with what I'm seeing them do. I must confess to you about that right now. To get to Dwight Howard and then to grab a Malik Monk too, I got to tell you something. That's not bad. I like Malik Monk. This brother can play. He really, really, really can play. And I got to tell you something right now. If he can put the ball with him and Kemba Walker, you got some offensive firepower. I can tell you that. You definitely got some offensive firepower. You can't ignore that. Be clear. Be very, very clear. You got to pay attention to all of that. Because I'm of the mindset right now, when I look at the Charlotte Hornets, I like what I'm seeing. And I like Malik Monk. I wish the Knicks had got him. I tell you, boy, I just hope that I'm wrong. I would give anything to be wrong about Phil Jackson. But I'm just not high on what I'm seeing him do right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not moving me, man. It's just not moving me. I got to tell you that. I really, really, really got to tell you that. But we shall see. Bam Adebayo out of Kentucky. The Heat got him. I don't know too much about this kid. I really, really don't. We'll see. Get DJ Wilson. Milwaukee? I don't know. Anunoby out of Indiana. Is that how you pronounce his name? I like him. That's a good pickup by the Toronto Raptors and Masai at 23. I really like him. We'll see, y'all. We'll see. Who did y'all like? Who do you think had the best draft out of any team? And don't you worry, I'll get into Jimmy Butler and the Chicago Bulls and how the hell they look giving away Jimmy Butler. Don't you worry about that. 866-729-ESPN. To the phones we go. Shug, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
What's going on, Stephen A?
Talk to me, man.
I was watching the draft yesterday. It was a good draft for everybody, I think. But your Knicks, man, you on point with that. I don't know what to say about that. That's a catastrophe right now.
Oh,
but.
Lord, man. Don't rub it in, man. Don't rub it in, man. Go ahead.
Okay, you right. Okay, check this out, Stephen A. I was checking out First Take today. I watch it every morning. You had Joe on there, and I was wanting to know, because I'm from Michigan, so you know I'm on the Pistons. Do you think that cloud about that pick that he did, do you think that's the reason he not getting no calls?
What are you talking about?
About the Darko Milicic. Do you think that's like lingering over him a little bit?
No. That's not what it is at all. There's some personal stuff going on between him and some of the owners, and I think that has something to do with it, not Darko Milicic personally. That's not why Joe Dumars is not getting calls, but we'll talk to him about some things in a few minutes, because he'll be on sitting right next to me in just a few minutes right now. By the way, your boy Andre Drummond, he and Stan Van Gundy don't get along at all from what I'm hearing. Drummond can't stand him. That's why he wants out. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens in Detroit in the coming days and weeks. Make no mistake about it. Pay attention to that as we move forward. Thanks a lot for the call, Shug. Appreciate it. Raymond in Queens, talk to me.
Yeah, good afternoon, bro. How you doing?
All right. Go talk to me, my man. How's everything?
I'm good. I just got one thing to say, man. If I'm Carmelo Anthony, man, I'm on the first thing smoking, man. By the trading deadline, get me out of here. This is just a total disaster over there. It's a dumpster fire. Like you said, Phil Jackson, I don't know what in the world he's doing. I feel like Carmelo Anthony just wasted the last 2 to 3 seasons of his career in New York with this dude, man. I was so disappointed last night, man. I don't even know what to say, Steve, man. But that's just basically what I want. That's all I want to say, man.
Listen. I got to blame Melo for that too, because Melo likes his money, and Melo likes being connected with money. And the reality of the situation is clear. He's got his money. But Melo's got to want to win more, and he's got to make it uncomfortable for people to keep him around if they're not committed to winning, and he doesn't do that well enough.
Yeah.
And I love Melo. You know I love Melo. You know how much love I got for Melo, but he really, really, really has to step up and be more assertive and more aggressive in his willingness to win, instead of just being in situations where he knows he's going to get paid.
Yeah, you're right about that, and that's why I'm thinking to myself, like, what is he sticking around for now? Like, you got the player option. That's basically the ball is in your court because Phil Jackson doesn't like you. He really doesn't want you there. So if I'm him, I'm making it public. Like, I'm just going to get kind of public with it over the next month or two and be like, yo, I want out of here. Like, get me away from this dude. What is he doing? He's getting paid to do absolutely nothing.
I feel you. I feel you on that, my man. Thank you so much. Appreciate the call.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
It is my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line with me right now. I shouldn't say on the line. He's sitting right next to me. Former Executive of the Year, two-time Executive of the Year, guided the Detroit Pistons to 6 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals appearances, plus an NBA championship, 2 NBA Finals appearances, and that was just as an executive. As a player, 2-time champion, and a Hall of Famer. The one and only Joe D, as in Joe Dumars, is sitting right next to me. Big Tom, what's going on, man? How you doing, man?
All good, man. Happy first time here in the studio with you. Glad to be here. This is nice.
What has life been like for you since you've been away from the NBA as an executive?
So life has been really doing stuff that I have not been able to do for years. Mm-hmm. Like I actually a couple years ago was at home in Louisiana for Christmas at my mom's house.
Wow.
The last time that happened, I was a senior in high school.
Wow.
In high school was the last time I was in Louisiana for Christmas. What I've been doing is my son played over in Germany. I went and spent a couple of months in Bamberg, Germany with my son and traveled all over Europe.
Wow.
My daughter is in law school at Pepperdine. Mm-hmm. That's not hard. Right. It's easy to go out to Malibu. That's the easy part. So,
I heard that she told you. Yeah. I heard you thought she was going to Fordham or something in New York. She went out to Malibu and it just changed up thought, right?
I was in Europe then. She called me. She said, Dad, that's been a change. What you talking about, baby? What's the change? I don't want to go to Fordham. Well, what's the problem? I want to go to Malibu. I said, okay. Okay, Daddy understands.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. So you look at this now, man. I mean, just looking at this draft that took place last night. Number one, how much did you miss it? Number two, what did you peel from last night's draft?
Okay, let me answer the first question. I miss it enough where when the right situation comes, I'm ready to roll.
Okay.
Ready to roll. Last night, did you say what appealed to me?
What appealed to you as you look at these picks? I mean, anybody stand out in your mind and you said this could be special?
So there are drafts that you go through and you look at the draft. Let's say you're involved in the draft. Mm-hmm. You're running a team. Right. You look at the draft and you look around the room and you go to your people, that small group of people you're with, you go, damn, this is not a strong draft. Mm-hmm. And so, you at that point, you're just saying, maybe we can get a good rotation guy out of this draft.
Right.
Maybe it's just not but last night, I looked at that draft and I said, okay, there are some starters and some all-stars in this draft. Mm-hmm. And for me, I looked at it and said, some good players in this draft, man. This is not going to be one of those drafts you look back on and say it was a weak draft. Mm-hmm. It's a good draft, man.
A particular player stand out in your mind where you look at him in concert with the team that picked him and said, this is going to be special.
Okay, so yes. Okay, so I think that I can go maybe the top 5 or 6 picks and tell you just real quickly this. Markelle Fultz, what's great about him going to Philly is this. He's not going to a team that's so decimated. It's just all about him carrying the entire franchise. Mm-hmm. They really got a franchise player already in the big kid, Embiid.
Ben Simmons.
And then
Embiid
too. So for him, a guy like him going to a team like that, awesome. Great for him. The second pick, Lonzo, probably the toughest spot for him. You're home, you got Pops, and the team is not there yet. You understand what I'm saying? Like the team is not really there yet.
But what does it say that Magic Johnson picked you as a point guard?
Oh,
it's like a shooting guard coming out of the draft, right? Yeah. That plays both ends, and Joe Dumars picked him. Yeah. That says a lot.
What it says to me is, I trust Magic's opinion about this.
Right.
You can't get me off of Magic on this. That's right. I know that Magic knows that position, and he knows what he's looking at with this kid. What I'm saying is the surrounding pieces, though. Mm-hmm. He needs guys that can put that ball in the basket. Mm-hmm. They have to continue to put that around him because he's a passer first. You know, he's like a Jason Kidd, like a Magic type guy. He's not looking to go out and get 30.
Do you, if you're Magic Johnson, now that you have Alonzo Ball and you moved D'Angelo Russell to Brooklyn, do you go out and prioritize getting Paul George now, or because he promised you this is where he wants to be, which is L.A. next summer, do you let him be a one-year rental for somebody else and then wait to get him for nothing? Do you take that chance, or do you pursue him now, Joe Dumars?
It's all about how much Indiana is asking for.
Okay.
If they're trying to clean my clock, right? Mm-hmm. For me to get Paul George, I'll wait. I'm not going to let you rip my team apart to get him. Mm-hmm. If it's a deal I can live with, get him now. Don't wait. Get him now if you can. But don't give up the house.
But help me out. What's the house? Julius Randle.
Okay.
All right. Luau Deng.
I don't know what their picks
Larry
are.
Nance Jr.
I'm talking about their picks.
Yeah, I got you. Because what I'm saying to you is this. The Lakers had like the 30th pick, I believe, or what have you. I think right now, what did they pick here? They picked at number 27, this kid out of Utah, and they picked at number 30. So I guess you could have had those couple of picks. You got the players that are on their roster. I'm wondering, I'm asking a generic question, considering the way the Lakers have struggled, considering how they've been bereft of talent to some degree in the eyes of some of us. To me, what is the house?
Right. The house probably for them is probably the future picks.
Okay.
Like future first-round picks and whatever.
Gotcha.
And like, okay, so here's the house. So if you're Brooklyn and it's, I don't know, 4 years ago or whatever, and you're making that trade for Garnett and
Garnett, Paul Pierce, and those boys.
And so people say, oh, they just gave up some first-round picks. And it's the third pick in the draft right now.
That's right.
So when I say the house, sometimes it's not just the guy you're looking at on that team.
Right.
Man, how much would they like to have that third pick back tonight? You understand what I'm saying? So when we say the house, it's not look beyond just the player sometimes.
Right.
Like, what are they asking for? Are they asking for two future first-round picks with no protection?
Right.
And something happens, a guy gets hurt, and that turns into the number one pick?
Fair.
You got to protect yourself on that end of it.
Fair enough. We're talking to the great Joe Dumars right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. New York Knicks draft this kid out of France, solid guard. Don't know if he's a definitive 1 or 2, but he's solid. Could be a starter. I think you need more than that from the 8th overall pick. If you're the New York Knicks, how did you feel about that?
The kid, I saw him. I've watched film on all of these kids. He probably was the one I watched the least amount of film on. So I don't know his game like that. I've watched him. He looks like a solid player. But, man, I'd be lying if I sit here and told you, hey, Steven, he's going to be this or that. I don't know his game.
The only
like
reason
that.
I'm asking about that is because I think about who you passed on.
Okay.
You got Dennis Smith Jr. out of North Carolina State. Everybody's seen him. You got Zach Collins. We saw him in the Final Four for Gonzaga in the national championship game. You got Malik Monk, who was the next. These were the next 3 picks after you passed on those dudes to grab this kid out of France.
Let me go back to one you just named.
Okay.
Dennis Smith Jr.
Special.
Hey, man. Steve, man, this dude, man, I like this kid here. I liked him like in top 5 in terms of talent. Now, I don't know whatever issues people were whispering about with him, but I know this. Just in terms of raw talent, I think he was the best physical raw talent in this draft. I put him right up at the top. So I do like him an awful lot. You're asking me about which players I like.
Right.
I love his talent, man. And so, if you want to look at a guy, that's the guy you look at right there.
Let me change subjects before I let you get on out of here. And I'm going to get a little personal because I've known you for many, many years and all the conversations that you and I, because I talk to the Hall of Famers because y'all know basketball.
Absolutely.
Damn it, y'all know basketball better than
We've
me,
been talking for years.
You've been talking for years and years and years.
Man.
I've always been on the record. I got a problem with the fact that people have not been kicking in your door for you to be an executive in this league. I know they hold the Darko Milicic pick against you. I will come to your defense in this regard. Even though Melo, Bosh, and Wade were after, that season that you didn't pick Darko Milicic, it was because you had Tayshaun Prince and Rasheed Wallace and Benny Wallace and Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups, and you went to back-to-back NBA Finals the year you didn't pick Darko Milicic. People think that's being held against you. People think, oh, Lord knows, no, people wonder what else could possibly be held against you. But I like the fact that they think that because it says to me that it doesn't make any sense to them any more than it makes any sense to me why people aren't kicking down your door for you to be an executive in the NBA. Could you explain to my listeners why you think that you haven't found the right spot yet and why we don't hear more about your name? I know it's a hard position, but I'm asking.
It is, but I don't have the answer to that. That would be really hard for me to understand. That was almost 15 years ago, and the success we had since then was off the charts. So that was 15. Really, that's 2003, 14 years ago. And so 14 years ago, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Like, I have no idea the answer to that particular question. I do know this from my side, though. From my side, it has to be the right fit for me, too, though. It cannot just be anywhere, anybody.
What's the right fit for Joe Dumars?
Well, I think,
at this point in your life,
I think that it has to be somebody that truly believes in culture and believes in building a culture with people, and not just grabbing guys, throwing them together, and saying, "Okay, we have the right formula to win." I want somebody that's want to build an organization. Look, you want to work somewhere where people treat you like a human being,
right?
You want to work somewhere, Stephen. You, yourself. Yeah. You want to work somewhere where you feel good about coming to work.
Absolutely.
I want to be in that environment. I want to work in that environment where the owner or whoever it is believes in those things
Does
too.
that environment, from a prevalent perspective, does it exist in the NBA today?
It still
or are you
exists.
concerned that there are too many places where it doesn't exist?
Well, I think it's more places now where that's not a priority. But there are still organizations out there that believe in building culture, and they're winning. And they're winning.
Yeah. Golden State, San Antonio.
They're being successful.
Cleveland's not a culture builder right now. It's up in the air right now.
Yeah,
and your boy Chauncey's about to get that job if he wants it.
Yeah, I don't know everything that's going on over there, but I do know this. I do know that places like Golden State and places like I'll tell you what, even places like Miami, when they have the talent, they're trying to build a culture.
Yes.
When the Knicks were really good, they're really good, they had a great culture.
Don't
there.
depress me.
Yo,
you're supposed to be my boy, Joe. I mean, come on, man. You're making me reminisce about 20 years
I
ago,
want you to
man.
feel good about it. I want you to remember
how can I feel good? Commit the miracle, Joe D. How can I feel good about anything with the New York Knicks right now? Tell me, throw me a mulligan, throw me a bone. Tell New Yorkers, tell any Knicks fans anywhere. How can we we understand how we can feel good about the Lakers because Magic's there. Even if you want to feel good about the Clippers, Doc Rivers and Jerry West is there. With the New York Knicks, we got Brooklyn and we got the Knicks. We got the Brooklyn Nets and we got Phil Jackson. How are we supposed to feel good, Joe D? Help us out.
There's going to be 41 home games at Madison Square Garden and 41 home games at in Brooklyn, and you can see them in person, fans.
There you go. My man. Love you, bro. Good seeing you, my man.
Thanks,
the great Joe D right here with Stephen A.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! You see, when you are an NBA insider, it's not just about the information. It's about when you expose it. It's about when you tell it. Because you got to protect your sources. Sometimes when you say something too soon, too early, everybody will know where you got it from. I mean, in a circle. And you don't want that. But I just received permission to say something that I had been hearing over the last couple of days. Okay? And listen. I'm going to break Nuno, stand up, because, I mean, you're going to be discussing John, or you're sitting down there, you're going to be very upset. You're going to be very upset. Can't you tell? I just got to tell y'all are not going to be happy. New Yorkers, you're not going to be happy. Let me tell you what happened. The New York Knicks were involved in a mega 5-team deal that would have sent Carmelo Anthony and Paul George to Cleveland. Both of them. And what mixed it up was A, Melo's hesitancy, and B, more importantly, nobody wanted to take Kevin Love's money. Now, I knew about this, but I had to make sure I had permission to say it. And I just received permission to say it. Melo and Paul George was going to end up in Cleveland. Both of them. But the combination of Griffin getting fired, along with Love's contract nobody wants, because I've been telling y'all for months, the knee and the back have been issues with Kevin Love. The deal didn't happen. So now if you're New Yorkers, you might be stuck with Melo, even though I don't think that's going to happen. But if you are a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, you're sick to your stomach because you could have been sitting here imagining no Kevin Love, but LeBron and Kyrie with Paul and Melo. Lord have mercy. That's what you could have had. I didn't want to tell it to everybody because I didn't want to hurt y'all feelings, but that was what was going to happen. And nobody wanted to take Kevin Love's money. That's one element in all of this. That's one of the things that I had to tell y'all. Had to break it to y'all, break folks' hearts, but it's the truth. Secondly, this kid, Tilakina, he's a two-way player. He can ball. He's not a scrub. He's solid. Dennis Smith Jr., I like him. Some stuff in his background. It's questionable. Phil thought about Malik Monk, but passed on him. Michael Jordan and Charlotte Hornets got him. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens. But I got to tell y'all, when you look at it, here's the bottom line. Los Angeles Lakers got a lot to be happy about. New York Knicks, not so much. It appears to be an upside. Phil was not going to trade Porzingis. He just wanted to test his value. There's something else I needed to tell you. Nuno, stand up, damn it. Stand up. Melo and George was one trade. Guess who the San Antonio Spurs called? The New York Knicks. And said they were willing to move Kawhi Leonard and clean house. But then they stepped back from it and changed their minds. These are all the things that I knew over the last couple of days. I couldn't say it. Couldn't say it. But I got it confirmed just a few minutes ago, yet again. Things are getting very, very interesting. Cleveland, San Antonio, Paul George, Melo, and more.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Away from the world of sports for a second. Top news stories in the world. Leading story by the Washington Post. Obama knew about Russian hacking on the part of Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, as early as last August before the election. Didn't say anything. And an ex-Obama official is quoted as saying, "We choked on the Russian hack." Obviously, the former president was mindful of influencing the election in any way. Didn't want to come across as doing that. Some people felt like he should have spoken up, blah, blah, blah. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Back to the world of sports. Listen, I don't believe for 1 second that the San Antonio Spurs were going to trade Kawhi Leonard. But according to my sources, they did call the Knicks. They did call Phil Jackson about Kristaps Porzingis. Phil Jackson was never going to trade Porzingis. Not at all, ladies and gentlemen. But he did want to see what value was out there for his Latvian burgeoning star. And if the San Antonio Spurs are calling you and entertaining the prospect of Kawhi Leonard moving on, it says two things. Porzingis has extreme value, And the San Antonio Spurs evidently don't believe they have much of a shot against the Golden State Warriors. I find that very hard to believe. During that time, approaching the draft and with all those trade rumors percolating, people have conversations and just, entertain anything. San Antonio did that. That is what my sources tell me. And I promise you, especially on this story, they are incredibly reliable. 866-729-ESPN. It's 866-729-3776. Let's go back to the phones, man. Mustafa, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man.
That's Stephen A. Big fan.
Thank you, man. Go ahead.
So what does Phil Jackson have to do to make you happy? Like not leaving. Don't say, I want to leave, I want to go. What does he have to do to make you think, wow, he's a great president,
Deliver on your promise. You know good and damn well that you were hired to go out there and make the New York Knicks a coveted stomping ground. If let me give you a perfect example of exactly what I'm trying to say, Mustafa, okay? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Phil Jackson pulled off getting Paul George here, okay? Kawhi Leonard, people like that, right? And the New York Knicks struggle, I wouldn't be fazed. Do you know why, Mustafa? Because that's living up to your cachet. See, anybody can stick up the joint and get high draft picks. Anybody could do that. Sam Hinkie should prove that. The key thing is, it's similar to what I said about Sam Hinkie, Mustafa. It's about going out there in the free agent market and making sure you market and establish yourself and the franchise you represent at a coveted stomping ground, which marquee free agents will consider. This is the Mecca. This is New York City. Kevin Durant wouldn't even sit down and have dinner with you. Neither would LeBron James. When everybody was talking about where LeBron James is going after this upcoming season, everybody says L.A. Then when people ask, why not New York? They said LeBron James will never come to play for Phil Jackson. You're an 11-time champion. Why is that? That is the kind of stuff that gets to me. The job that Phil Jackson is doing, even if there's incremental improvement, Mustafa, says nothing. Because you're not doing anything that anybody else can't do. You're the 11-time champion. You're the guy with more rings than you have fingers. You're the individual with those championship credentials, which players supposedly covered. Why won't they even talk to you? That's what I want. Does that answer your question?
Kind of.
Kind of?
I don't know, man.
Bye. Yeah. Bye. You're lucky I didn't tell you to go to hell. I was tempted to. The hell you mean kind of? You asked me a question, I answered it directly. I gave you the direct answer. What do you think Magic Johnson's doing right now? It's not just about Lonzo Ball. Magic Johnson is reestablishing a culture, and it is clear his number one priority is to make the Los Angeles Lakers a coveted destination and landing spot. It is absolutely clear. That's what he's doing. He ain't talking culture and triangles and all of this stuff that nobody cares about. Magic Johnson is talking about the Lakers. Magic Johnson is talking about the purple and gold. Magic Johnson is talking about Showtime. That's the conversation that he's having. That's what he's talking about. When do you hear Phil talking about that? What have you heard come out of Phil Jackson's mouth that speaks to the Knicks being a coveted stomping ground for marquee free agents? When has that happened? That is the point. Steve in Sacramento, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. And you made me lose my train of thought by listening to you on the radio. I was going to talk about LeVar and Lonzo, but the trade information that you gave out on Melo and George going to the Cavs, was Porzingis involved in that trade? Because you didn't say. Was that information you couldn't release?
I'm sorry. What are you asking me again? I apologize. I don't understand exactly what your question is.
Was Porzingis involved in that trade when Melo and George were supposed to go to the Cavs? Was he going somewhere?
No.
Not Craig?
No.
Oh, okay. Let me just say real quick about LeVar and Lonzo, because I know there's a lot of LeVar haters out there.
Not here.
I think LeVar is good for the NBA. I think he's harmless. I think Lonzo is real lighthearted with him. I think he laughs at him. He doesn't take him too serious, and I think LeVar is probably could get Dad of the Year.
Well, you can say that. You can say, listen, I don't want to knock him because I think LeVar is a good man and he's been a good father and he deserves our respect for that. I do believe and suspect, however, that he's kind of intimidating to his children. And I don't see a Lonzo Ball that appears ready to stand up to Dad if necessary, if possible.
Well, no, I don't think he'll do that either. I just don't think he's going to show the public that he takes him very seriously. I don't think he'll show that.
Okay, I got you. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Let's go. You know what? Before I get to the next caller, let me say this. The Minnesota Timberwolves hosed the Chicago Bulls. That Jimmy Butler deal, as far as I'm concerned, makes Jimmy Butler and the Minnesota Timberwolves a playoff team. And what do you have to show for it? Zach LaVine is coming off an ACL injury. I like him, but he's coming off an ACL injury. Don't get me started on Chris Dunn. We don't know much about him yet because his rookie year wasn't strong. And this kid Markkanen out of Arizona can't play any defense, just can shoot. Chicago, Gar Forman and John Paxson, who I respect, put their personal feelings, as far as I'm concerned, by letting go of Tom Thibodeau and bringing in Fred Hoiberg. They put their personal feelings and their personal well-being ahead of the interests of the Chicago Bulls franchise and its fan base. And as a result, it's put them in the predicament that they're in. The Chicago Bulls are officially in the midst of a youth movement, asking for patience from a fan base that has never wavered in their support towards this franchise. And why are they doing that? Why do they have to do that? Because Paxson and Foreman couldn't work with somebody universally recognized as one of the better coaches, if not one of the great coaches in the game of basketball today, in Tom Thibodeau. You know what? If you're Golden State and you replace Mark Jackson, who should have a head coaching job by now, by the way, but if you replace Mark Jackson with a Steve Kerr, a five-time champion as a player, a former executive in Phoenix, who clearly had connections on the NBA level and was worthy of the opportunity that was given to him by the Golden State Warriors, that would be one thing. Fred Hoiberg, coming out of Iowa State, his claim to fame is that they liked his personality. I'm not knocking Fred Hoiberg. This is not his fault. And I'm not claiming he doesn't know basketball. But to be given a head coaching job on the NBA level as the successor to Tom Thibodeau? Really? Foreman and Paxson have to be held accountable for this. This is on them. Not advocating firing or anything like that, but I'm just saying, when we talk about the struggles of the Chicago Bulls, got to talk about Foreman and Paxson. There's no way around it.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Back to the phones we go. Let's go to my man Lenny in North Carolina. Always good hearing from you, my brother. What's going on, man? How are you?
What's going on, big brother? I'm doing good. How you feeling?
I'm going all right. Talk to me.
All right, I got 4 things real quick. Number 1, you need to call in Evan and Babs. They miss you. They played a take that you did earlier, calling him a choir boy. They miss you.
All right.
So that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Isley Brothers, Footsteps in the Dark. Can we get some of that when you come back on your radio?
You heard that cat. You heard that request. She'll take care of it. I believe in her. Go ahead.
All right. Number 3, brown shoes with a gray suit for an interview. What are your thoughts?
Not bad. It could work.
So I can do that then.
Blue would be better, but brown with the gray, that's fine. Brown tannish-like shoes with the gray, that'll step it out a little bit extra. You could do that.
Okay.
You can do that.
Got you on that one.
But
for an interview,
blue is always better. Blue is always better
Blue
than
is better
gray.
for an interview.
You know why gray?
Okay.
You know why gray is suspect?
Because it's kind of dry.
It's kind of dry. It's kind of
Okay.
dry, and it gives off the impression of indecisiveness. Blue is a power thing, you know, but you don't have the power. The employer has the power, but it speaks more to respect that you have for the person interviewing you and the job that you want and that you're worthy of it.
Okay, gotcha.
Blue's better than gray. Go ahead.
Always get my fashion incense from you. Now, number 4. Do you think, with all the moves the T-Wolves did last night, do you think the T-Wolves got a shot?
To make the playoffs, that's it.
You don't think they got a shot to beat the Warriors?
Absolutely not.
I mean, not beat them,
absolutely
but at least
not.
beat them in the Western Conference.
Lenny, they've never even been in the playoffs. Stop. Just because Jimmy Butler arrived and he's got playoff experience, he's the only one. He had playoff experience when they just lost to Boston. What's the matter with you? Andrew Wiggins is a baby. Andrew Wiggins is a baby. Carl Anthony is a baby. Give them time. I think they'll win about 45 games. They'll make the playoffs and go home.
All right. That's all I needed, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy. Let's go to CB in Pasadena. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. 17 straight threes, A. Smith.
What did I tell you about doing that? Just Stephen A. Stop with the hyperbole, bro. Come on now. Let's go.
Okay. All right, my bad,
Sir.
Stephen A.
All right.
But, I'm so fascinated because it was scientific. And what I've learned when I went to the Clippers, they had something down there at the sports arena in Los Angeles. And so they had a party, a draft party. And so, they were going to take big country. But what I've learned through this draft, people are maneuvering players is beautiful because they may pick a player, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you will stay with them. Now, on the Ball situation, I think this is fabulous for the Lakers. I feel sorry for Russell, but he kind of snitched my boy out, Swaggy P. So
yep.
I don't know where that was, That was a cold thing, Stephen A. But I really was enthralled with it. And, with Fox and also Jackson, and you got some Maserati type of players out there that I think will help some teams. But this is it, I think, Stephen A., is that you've got some of the top-tier teams, and you have the middle teams, and then you have some lower teams. I think the Clippers are kind of a middle team. I think they'll maybe progress with Jerry West getting there. Matter of fact, he had a fabulous interview. I like Jerry West. He's very cerebral, just like yourself. But I truly believe that, still you have to climb that mountain to get through Cleveland and Golden State. They're kind of the cream of the crop. Now, LeBron is extraterrestrial in his play. He was fabulous. I got to admit to you, bro.
I got to admit to you, CB, you just talking. You ain't making a point, my man. You seem like you indecisive about what you really, really want to say. What's the number one reason you call? What's on your mind about this draft?
The number one reason is, to really be honest with you, I'm packing my bag now. I think I'm going to Vegas because I'm a Raiders fan.
I appreciate that, and I'm jealous of you because the weather's beautiful out there. But what's the number one reason you call? Give it to me.
Okay. The number one reason, Stephen A., what do you think about the Lakers situation and their manipulating their draft picks to try to build a team that at least, is competitive?
Well, I like it. Listen, I believe in Magic Johnson, and I appreciate the call, CB. Thanks a lot. I believe in Magic Johnson, and I'm going to give Magic Johnson the benefit of the doubt because he deserves it. I got to be honest with you, no disrespect, but I just don't want to hear from Rob Pelinka right now. I wanted to hear from Magic Johnson last night, and I want to see what Magic Johnson's going to do in free agency. After that happens, then I want to hear from Rob Pelinka. But in terms of resurrecting Lakers lore, after the damage Jim Buss did to this franchise, everything is about Magic Johnson and what he's doing. That's just where I'm at with it. He deserves the benefit of the doubt. Tommy, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Hey, Tommy, how are you?
Hi.
How are you?
How are you? Yes, this is Tommy. I'm the one that saturates your page with the Stephen A. Love.
I appreciate that.
Me.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. That's what I call you. So if anyone call you that, that's my trademark.
What is it again?
Stephen A. Love.
Stephen A. Love?
Stephen A. Love,
Stephen A. Love. All right, I can live with that. I can live with that.
I'm Tommy on your Twitter, TOMMI.
All right.
I'm in Maryland.
Okay.
And I have been listening and loving you since 1997 and probably beyond. So I just really admire all that you do. You're amazingly, just immensely a great person.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I map all my meetings around First Take. So I know you like for, people to get to the point. So that's my point. But sports related, I do like University of Kentucky. I admire Coach Cal. I think he's great. I like how he brings the students in and seem to take them under his wing, and personally know some things about him and have met him. And I know how he cares about parents. So I guess with him having so many in the draft, how do you feel about his coaching skills and what he, provides for his players?
As a person, listen, John Calipari is I love him personally. But let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. He and I go back more than 23 years. When I was covering Temple, he was at UMass, and I had to cover them. And one of his lead assistant back then was a guy by the name of Bruiser Flint, who ultimately departed to go and be the head coach at Drexel. Bruiser Flint is a personal friend of mine. And that's why that's how far back Calipari and I go. We talk not frequently, but we talk enough. But I got a lot of love for Calipari. We go back. Calipari is a fantastic recruiter and a damn good coach. There is one blemish on the resume of Calipari that I bring up more so than anybody else. With all of that talent, even if it's one and done, I need more than one national title. That's my only issue with him. I need more than one national title. He goes to the Final Four. He's in the Elite Eight. He's constantly knocking at the door. But I need more than one national title on the resume of John Calipari. When you look at DeMarcus Cousins, the John Walls, Anthony Davis delivered the national title. There's no question about that. And you look at the Malik Monks and the De'Aaron Foxes of the world and everybody in between. He's had too many great freshmen, even though they're freshmen, too many great All-Americans to have just one national title. That's it. That's my only knock on Calipari.
I love what you said about his character, because that's how I feel about him. I met him originally when he was with Memphis University. My friend Rod Strickland was coaching, assistant coaching with him.
Whoa. Now you know Rod Strickland is my brother. That's my dog. Tommy, that's my dog right there.
Great.
Rod Strickland is my man.
Last September. He's great. He's wonderful. So I'm glad about that.
I'm about to see him in a few weeks. I'm about to see him in a few weeks in Florida. I'm about to catch up with him.
Well, yeah, I'm supposed to see him before July 9th. His birthday's on the 11th.
Yeah, he did great.
I wish
he got
more my excitement. I want to see you. I saw Herm Edwards at Sagamore.
I got you.
Kevin Plank's Under Armour event, and I told him, I said, I need to meet Stephen A.
Okay,
Smith.
you will, Tommy. I'll make it happen because I got to run, but I do need you to help Rod Strickland get rid of some of that gray hair. He's got a lot of that now. He's got a lot of it, Tommy. He's got to get rid of some of that gray hair.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Mike in Denver, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, big baby? How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing good. How you doing,
I'm
brother?
all right. How's the family, man?
Everybody doing fine, man. And Fatty told me to especially, man, keep up the good work. He loves you, and he know you praying for you, and he praying for you too and your family.
Thank you, bro. Go ahead, man.
What I took from yesterday, man, you spoiled what I was getting ready to say, but I think it's going to be a little more than that. Minnesota get ready to come, Steve. Minnesota getting ready to come.
They're coming. But they have not arrived.
They get ready to come. I mean, they ain't there yet.
Right.
But with Jimmy
That's
Butler
all I'm trying to say.
And the goodest coach Tibb is he gonna get two integral parts.
We got to be accepting.
We
got to put things in perspective about Tibbs. All right. When you think about Tibbs, I think he's an exceptional coach. Please don't get me wrong. But he was never accused of being exceptional offensively. His greatness is on the defensive end of the floor.
Exactly.
I mean, he was basically the defensive coordinator for the Boston Celtics when they won the title. He's the reason Mike D'Antoni got walked out on Phoenix, because when Steve Kerr and those boys were there, they asked him to accept Tom Thibodeau as a leading assistant, and D'Antoni refused. Otherwise, he'd have never left Phoenix, and they might have won the title. So you got to look at it from that perspective. Thibodeau, however, has never been stout offensively. We got to remember that.
Right. We know that, but he got two young horses up there, man, and now with Jimmy Butler. And like you said, they ain't ready yet.
They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going home.
Yeah. We're talking 2-3 years down the line.
Yeah. Let's see what else they do, because you got to go and get some other dudes in free agency and stuff like that.
Yeah, they
doing all right. They're doing all right.
And then yesterday again, Phil Jackson.
Oh,
I know he made you sick again. Like you said,
come on, man.
All them people sitting there, Dennis Smith, Malik Monk, and man, you pulled the trigger on this guy. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I ain't sold on them guys across that water, man. I ain't sold on them, man. Every now and then one of them blossom, but come on, Phil Jackson.
We'll see what happens. I will say this. I will say this, though. The jury's still out on this kid. Let's see what Tilakina is capable of doing. And I would prefer that it would have been Dennis Smith Jr., but I'm hearing there were some things in his background that made folks scared of him. Then you got Malik Monk. Phil thought about grabbing him, but ultimately passed. So I'll look at it and I'll say, okay, we got to go from there. All right?
And one point before you leave, man. Hey, that trade, good God Almighty, that would have been something to see.
Could you imagine if Melo and Paul George would have been with Cleveland?
Lord. It would have been something to see.
That would have been something special.
They need to try to get ready, man, for them boys out west. They got about 2 more years. But go ahead, man. Have a good day. I love you, man, and see you when you come back.
No doubt. Later. Let's go to Justin in Manhattan. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, man?
Stephen A., how you doing? Big fan.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I had a question. Do you have any more details on the Spurs contacting the Knicks about unloading Kawhi?
I do not. What I heard was that it was a 5-team deal that would have had Melo and Paul George both ending up in Cleveland. But there was another deal where once Phil started talking his mess, the San Antonio Spurs called to inquire about Porzingis and mentioned Kawhi Leonard. But then obviously they backed off, and that was that. That's all I know.
Now, was that going to send Kawhi to New York, do you know?
Yes. That's what I'm telling you.
Wow. Okay, excellent.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Mike in Santa Monica. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Mike?
Steve, what's up, baby? How are you, man?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Good. Hey, I wanted to talk some Knicks nostalgia with you. I need you to turn into Stephen A. the therapist for me, man. I've been a massive Knicks fan my whole life. I'm not going to complain about the draft. I'm okay with the draft. I want to see what the kid turns out to be. But my major issue, and this goes back to the coaching or the hiring process, all the way back to Derek Fisher. People who've been Knicks fans for years, like you and I, think about the Chris Childs days, the Charlie Ward days, Marcus Camby, Oakley, all those guys, when it gave you that feeling, man. Why didn't they give Patrick Ewing an interview?
Well, listen, first of all, Patrick Ewing, I got to hold Patrick Ewing somewhat accountable for that as well. He wasn't the most communicative individual in the world. And when you are a head coach, it's essentially your job to be the face of a franchise in certain respects because you have to go out there and represent putting a good face on the organization. And you've got to have to listen. Think about this for a second. Think about why you love Patrick Ewing at Georgetown. Because he was the face of Hoya paranoia if John Thompson wasn't there. Of all the faces that came after.
He was the face of Knicks basketball.
But wait a minute. He was the face of the franchise, but it was during the Pat Riley era. And then after that, Jeff Van Gundy. And so because of it, he was the face as a player. But I'm talking about a face that extends beyond the court of play. Patrick Ewing's mystique was so large at Georgetown, no one could say anything when the Hoyas brought him on as head coach. Didn't even think about it. Any more than you thought about it when Chris Mullin ended up at St. John's. Because it's Chris Mullin. You understand? If it ain't Luke Carnesecca, why not make sure it's Chris Mullin? But when you talk about the pro level and the business of basketball, now you got a different challenge. And your lack of communication and your unwillingness to be more media friendly resonates with sports franchises because basketball, meaning on-court play, isn't the only place they make money. Consider this, Mike. The New York Knicks, by and large, have stunk, for the most part, since 1999. But they still make more money than anybody. So that tells you it's more than just your performance on the court. You feel what I'm saying? Huh, Mike?
One thing I need, man, I need to get back to that feeling, man, that I hate to say it, but Linsanity was the last time I felt really good about the Knicks, excited to watch the Knicks. I haven't had that feeling.
Because you haven't had anybody that's box office. But you can't. But let me take that back. You can't say that. when Mike Woodson became the coach and they had acquired, before Mike Woodson became the coach, when Carmelo Anthony first arrived from Denver, you did have that feeling. Come on now.
That was exciting. But what did we get? An 8 seed? We got blown out by the Heat?
No. I'm talking about before. No. You lost in the first round. But then the very next year, D'Antoni was gone. Mike Woodson took over. You won 54 games and lost in 6 to Indiana. And you should have won that series.
Yeah. Last thing, Stephen A. What do you think happens to Carmelo? Does he play this year? Does he waive his
Carmelo? I believe Carmelo will be gone. I don't know where, but I believe he will be gone from the New York Knicks and will end up in Cleveland or with the Clippers before the season begins. That's my personal belief. I do not know anything as of yet, but that's my personal belief, Mike.
And that's the best situation for both the Knicks and
or San Antonio. I wouldn't count on San Antonio either. Those are the 3 teams.
Yeah. Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! It's my last segment, ladies and gentlemen, before I go on vacation. You all are fully aware of everything myself and my family has been through. Thank you again so much for all the love and support that has been extended to me through emails, text messages, social media like Twitter and Facebook and beyond. I'll never forget it for as long as I live. And, it's interesting, before I get on out of here today, take some of these phone calls before I get on out of here. We live in an age where so many people can be so cruel. Sometimes I'm accused of being cruel, even though I would beg to differ. But I remember, one of the things that I will always remember most, that I will always stay with me, when my mother passed away and my family convinced me to show back up for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. And I remember I finally opened my eyes and wiped my tears and decided to read and see what was going on. The blogosphere. It could be everybody from awful announcing to Deadspin to Bleacher Report, ESPN, everything. It could be the fans and the hecklers and everybody out there. I will never, ever forget how kind and how genuine and respectful everybody was. And I mean everybody, including folks in the blogosphere. It just reminded me of what really exists at the end of the day, by and large, by most of us as human beings, is our humanity. And I'll never forget it. People can call me crazy and go off on me in the blogosphere, because I rarely read that stuff anyway, but they can go off on me now. It wouldn't even bother me, because they showed me a level of humanity that I so desperately needed at a time when I just don't even know what to say. I'll never get over losing my mom. The pain will get worse before it gets better. I know. Which is why this vacation with my family is going to be very, very much needed. But I just wanted to make sure that before I departed today, that I thanked everybody, the folks at ESPN. I can't say enough about how wonderful these folks were to me. My contemporaries, my colleagues in the business everywhere. TNT, Fox, NBC, CBS, the fans, the critics, everybody. Everybody was absolutely wonderful. I'm going to say it one last time. I will never forget it as long as I live. And I thank you all on behalf of myself and my family from the bottom of my heart. I just wanted to make sure that I said that before I got on out of here today, since I'm going to be gone for a few weeks on vacation. 866-729-ESPN. Let me end this show the right way. Let's go through these calls real quick before we get on out of here. Let's go to Chris in Cali. Talk to me, Chris. Go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A. First-time caller here, man. Love your show. Love you in ESPN with Max Kellerman.
Thank you, man. Real quick. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. Everybody should be excited about Lonzo Ball going to the Lakers, but my family loves Lakers, and they always trip on me why I became a Sacramento fan. And for the first time, for all the Sacramento fans, we should be excited of what we got. Now, that being said,
I need you to hurry up, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think in a few years the rivalry, Sacramento and Lakers, will be at what it was in the early 2000s?
I don't know. It depends on what Vlade Divac's able to do with this team. But picking up De'Aaron Fox is a huge, huge step in the right direction. And Harry Giles, by the way. Huge step in the right direction.
Yes.
Appreciate the call, man. Kenny in New Jersey. Talk to me real quick, Kenny. Go.
Hey, Stephen A., I know you don't have much time, so I want you to take this on vacation with you, man. I know you're a very successful person, very smart, college-educated person, but I would take this time right now to give that credit to your mom. And I want to thank her for bringing you into this earth, because she's my inspiration, man, and I learned a lot from you, Stephen A. So sports and all that is cool, but I just wanted to take that time out to say that, the credit for what you are today, man, that's your mom.
Of course.
And I want to thank you and her, man,
well, listen,
for that.
It's God and my mother. No question
That's
about
right.
it. My mother,
That's right.
my mother was the greatest. Thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate it, man. You have a wonderful weekend. Joe in Long Island, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Joe, go ahead.
Quick question. What do you think the Timberwolves will do now with Ricky Rubio now that they have traded for Jimmy
I think
Butler
they're going to keep him.
playoff?
I think they're going to keep him because they don't have a point guard.
I'm just trying to figure out because it feels like whenever he's on the court, it's just so hard because I feel like he can't shoot threes. And
Well, he can't shoot threes. He can't shoot threes, but what he can do is run a team and pass that damn basketball. And between Wiggins, Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns, he's got enough people to pass the ball to on offense. He has to improve his defense, though, and if anybody can help him in that category, it would be Tom Thibodeau. After all, Tom Thibodeau held on to him and let go of Chris Dunn, so it shows you how much faith he lost in Chris Dunn. Got to run, but I appreciate that call. Thank you. Donald, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Real quick, Donald, go ahead.
What up, Stephen A. Smith? Man, I'm in Milwaukee. I just want to know what you think about this pick that the Bucks picked, because I don't know who this guy is.
I'm not high on DJ Wilson. I know he's got promise, but a lot of people got questions as to whether or not he should have been that guy. I will tell you this, though. The Greek Freak with the return of Jabari Parker, with this kid Brogdon out of Virginia who had a really good rookie year, who may end up very well being the rookie of the year. I mean, this could, with Jason Kidd coaching this team, I like what I'm seeing from the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think their upside is great. I'm not going to dismiss them by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a huge Jason Kidd fan, and I think that you're in good hands. William Mustafa, sorry I couldn't get to you, but it's good that I didn't because I don't feel like depressing myself by talking about the Knicks, Mustafa. And Willie, as far as your Bulls, I don't know how much faith you have in them right now. I'm signing off. I'm on vacation for the next few weeks. Thank y'all all for the love and support. I'll see you when it's time to talk about some football. Peace and love, everybody.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.